Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a digital marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. And today I have an awesome show for you. I have James Hatfield from LiveSwitch, which is a software designed for contractors. We're going to go into a whole lot of details on that, and I'm not going to butcher it and try to do it myself. I'll let James do that. But it is going to be an exciting show, and really excited to kind of dig deep into this. But James, appreciate you coming on the podcast. How's it going, man?
Alex, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Good. Yeah, me too. And just to give everyone kind of a little, backstory here, James reached out, I guess maybe a couple months ago about coming on the podcast and, wanted to talk about this, his platform. And we had a meeting and, he told me about all the features, and it really just kind of blew me away. Honestly, it was something that I've seen done in a different way. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. But I never really seen somebody create, I guess, a dedicated software for this. And to not be so vague, we'll get into it quick so you understand what I'm talking about. But it was definitely very impressive to hear about it. And that's why I was excited to bring James on here and kind of tell you all about it. But like I always like to do with these, the podcast, always like to hear kind of a little backstory and kind of see, where you came from and how you ended up with LiveSwitch and all the success you're seeing there. So maybe James, if you could just tell us a little bit about your story, your background, kind of the history, I guess, up until you founded LiveSwitch.
Yeah, so I'm a little different than most because I used to run painting and power washing companies for many years. So I'm not your typical tech nerd. I actually have spent a life on a ladder. So I did get off the ladder and move into technology, but I never meant to. I really just wanted to keep running my businesses. I had crews and we were doing really well. But one thing I couldn't do really well is I didn't know my numbers. When I went to the bookkeeper, they would speak English to me and I would nod, but I didn't understand what they were saying. I was like, this is a problem, just like when you go and you're good I'm great at painting a house. I'm great at power washing. I can take care of homeowners, but then now I'm a business owner too. Right. So I need to go to school for business. I didn't grow up around business. I grew up around blue collar guys. My dad built his own house. My grandfather worked at a tire store since he was 16. Like I just grew up around those kind of guys, and no one really ever taught me business. So I was like, I'll just go to get my business stuff in the after hours. So I went to state school, back when it was affordable a couple decades ago. I'm dating myself. But I was like, I got to learn these numbers so I can take care of my team and my family. So as I did that, when I finished it, I actually met a guy who ran a landscaping company and he was doing kind of the same thing, but he invented this like technology where you could take an income statement and balance sheet that you get from your bookkeeper. You could throw it through the technology and it would tell you exactly how you were doing in like plain language. I was like, yes, this is what I need. He's like, well, do you want to sell it? I was like, I'll try, I'll get off the ladder for a little bit and I'll give it a go. Well, we took that company from nothing. Like we're in an incubator to Inc. 500, which means we're one of the fastest growing companies in the United States. And now it's a multi-billion with a B dollar company. We
Nice.
sold that. And so that worked out. That worked out pretty well for me.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Oh man. But then, we got into nonprofits. We started doing things with inmates to entrepreneurs where incarcerated men and women would go through our entrepreneurship program. We'd teach them business. And it turned into a television show on ABC called Free Enterprise. You can check it out. And so we were like, well, we're not really done hanging our boots up, with business. Let's build another company, another billion-dollar company. But this time, let's not start from scratch, because anyone who started a business that's listening from scratch knows how many gray hairs you get when you do that. So we're like, let's buy one this time. So we found a 16-year-old company and bought it, and we wanted to do another tech company, and we never intended to be back with the contractors again, but we ended up back with the contractors, and that's a whole nother story that I'll walk you through as well. Because I think setting the story here, Alex, is kind of important so people know how we how we got here to Fence and Deck. Like guys listening are like, what is this guy? What's the point? I promise we're going to get there.
That's a good story. Keep going, man.
Yeah. So we bought this company about 5 years ago. And again, I'm hanging out with the engineers. I'm hanging out with the builders. Like in tech, the builders, the guys in tech that are the builders are the coders. Now they don't build the same way that my contractors did. And again, they were speaking English to me, and I was nodding. I was like, I don't understand a word these boys are saying. I was like, you guys got to break this down to me like I'm five, like explain it. So it took me a while to learn it, but once I did, what we had is this technology, and I don't expect anyone to know what this is because I didn't know, being a home service guy. Web RTC. I was like, what's that? Web real-time communication. And how do you guys use this? Well, we did the Super Bowl this year and last year. If you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code on the Jumbotron and they put you on the Jumbotron, that's us. If you remember during the COVID with NBA when they had the bubble and all of the fans were digitally piped in, we did all that. So this company specializes in live video, and different companies all over the world would come to us. Well, one person that came to us was the chief of police of Washington, D.C., to reinvent our nation's 911 phone call. Because when you make a 911 phone call, it's all audio. And if you ever try to explain something to someone when you're compromised, it's impossible. So we were like, how do we get into your cameras now that everyone has 3 or 4 cameras in their pocket? How do we get in there and see what they see? So we invented something where now you can send a text message, tap it, and instantly show your cameras and that video feed to the police car, fire truck, emergency medical, so they can see what they're driving into. It's called situational awareness. It's really cool with no apps. I mean, we had to get into those cameras quick. Well, the natural question was like, who else could use this thing? And it reminded me of back in the day. So if any listeners are my age or older, you'll know what I'm talking about. CB radios in your truck or a Nextel walkie-talkie, if you remember those things. Like, it's that.
Yeah.
It's the Nextel walkie-talkie, but with my eyes instead of my ears. I always had my Nextels, sitting at the Waffle House. I had my
Yeah.
truck out
Cutting
there,
edge.
and we're all talking on Nextel. Man, if you didn't have a Nextel walkie-talkie back in the day, you were not like doing it as a contractor, But we love those things. It was basically, you know, toys for big boys, basically. So
Yeah.
we were playing with our Nextels, but I was like, this is a Nextel walkie-talkie. So I ended up meeting this guy in the moving industry, like moving boxes. All right. So he's moving these boxes, and I show him this emergency medical, like emergency technology. He's like, James, he's like, you're sitting on a pot of gold. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, as a contractor, the most expensive thing I do is I put one of my hourly wage guys into one of my trucks, and they drive out to the job site in the hopes to win the business. Or sometimes they just got to drive out because, when you're building decks and you're building fences, sometimes like personal, they could have done it themselves, but you got to drive out for an hour just to fix something that literally they could have done,
Yeah.
or there was a problem with the gate or whatever. Everyone knows what I'm talking about who's listening to this. When you could have just done it virtually, right? A bid, and he was right. I mean, oh my goodness, we now have thousands of people using this. We're under the hood of things like Jobber and ServiceTitan. We're one of the only companies in the world. Like, there's only 4 of them that do live video. This is why you don't see it in anywhere in business yet. But now you're about to, and this is what's coming. So I think I've set the stage with a long story. I can't make a short story, a long story short. So
No, that
there
was
you go,
good.
Alex. I hope you had your
No,
popcorn out.
it was a good
Munching.
story. I mean, you've been through a lot. I mean, that's an awesome story, especially I mean, kind of where you started and then getting into tech and having a big exit like that. And it sounds like you guys are killing it now. So that's exciting. And yeah, I mean, I guess like you explained it to me kind of how it works. I mean, I think that would be the best place to start is kind of like, what exactly it does, the use cases and like how it applies to contractors. Um, I'm assuming, do you have fencing and decking contractors using
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, for
Yeah. So
sure.
maybe if you can kind of explain maybe how they use it, that'd be great.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take everyone on I call it the customer buying experience or the journey that your customers see. I think a lot of times as home service owners, or if you're in the home services, you're really good at building stuff and fixing stuff. But sometimes we forget about what it's like to be the customer. You know what I mean? And like walk in their shoes and how things have changed over the years. I mean, back in my day, I would knock on doors to get business, or someone would call me and on my phone, and I'd drive my truck out, and we'd walk around the property and sit down at the dinner table and look at the price. And I mean, I know a lot of guys, that's how we still operate, but things have changed nowadays with the age of Amazon, right? Amazon has ruined everybody. When
Yep.
Amazon Prime came and you get 2-day packages, now they get it overnight. I saw a story this morning. They're now bringing overnight delivery to more small towns. So it's going to ruin everybody. Like, and I don't like to go to store anymore. Last
Yep.
time I went to
Me either.
Walmart has been a long time. I'm just like, I'm not going. Like, I'm just,
Yep.
just put it on my doorstep, man. And my groceries are now on my doorstep, everything. And now the cars are driving themselves, right? So things are changing, right? And so the modern buyers, right? These young folks, right? As we like to say, they get on, and when they have a problem at home, they don't want to wait. They have no patience. And sometimes they've researched you on like Chat GPT. Everyone hears about AI. Well, you're getting researched on Chat GPT by some buyers, and they got
Yeah.
money. They know what they want. Now they don't know how to build a deck or a fence. I'll tell you that much. They might look it up on YouTube, but they can't put a fence or a deck up to save their life, you know?
Yep.
So when they call you, right, or going through your quoting form on your website, they want they don't know you. What they're doing is they go to Google, right? Fence guy near me. That's what they do, right? Is what a modern buyer does. And they look for who's got the most stars. So if you got 500 stars, you get the call. And what we used to do is say, okay, I can come out in a couple days, right? And then you get penciled in. And then when you call the morning of, hey, I'm on the way out, and they're like, oh, don't bother. I already had someone come out and I'm working
Yep.
with them.
Or they
Has
don't
this
pick
not
up.
happened to everybody listening? So there's this thing called race to the face, speed to lead. Just like speed matters in the NFL and the Olympics, it matters in business now. So
Oh
what
yeah.
you can do when that phone call comes in, and make sure you pick up. No, I've got some stories about people who don't pick up their phones, and you're going to love this,
Me
Alex.
too.
That's the marketing guy who's spending thousands of dollars for leads, and we can't pick up a phone. But you pick up the phone, right, and you ask, hey, what's the job? You do what we call discovery. And what you're trying to do is find out if they have money, if they're worth driving out for. So now what you're going to do is you're going to say, can I just send you a text really quick? And you can just show me the outside, show me what you're needing so I can see what you see. Because once they see your face, the game changes. It completely changes. Like just like when you show up on property and you shake a hand or you say hi to someone, the game has now changed. I'll ask contractors, how many of your AI agents close all your deals? Raise your hand. Nobody. When I'm speaking on stage, no one raises their hand. We all know that the face closes deals, and no one's blind bidding over the phone. And if you are, you're not bidding right. You've got to see it, right? So now
Yep.
you can see it. You can connect with the customer and build trust because people buy on trust. And oh yeah, I've seen this before, and you can do one of three things. Here's the first thing you're going to do. You're going to rule people out, right? You're going to say, man, this ain't a job worth driving out for. They ain't got no money. They're just trying to get free advice, and they're going to get their friends with 2 pizzas, and they're going to get some post hole diggers. And
Yeah.
we all know those guys. Oh my gosh. One of my friends was one of those. He tried to put his own deck up. It was a disaster. Anyway,
Yikes.
oh my gosh. So we try to rule those out. We don't want to drive out to people who want us for free consulting. The other ones are the young, it's not really necessarily young, but the people that have the knowledge, the referral, the money. They just want you to come put the fence up yesterday, right? You're going to close that deal in your sleep. So you can start closing them virtually sometimes. Or the middle bucket where you're like, you connect with them, they connect with you, and then you go out there and you've seen the job now, or you send this recorded video to your estimator, and when they show up on property, they already know what they're looking at, and they'll just do the measurements, give the bid, and you're committing that person to you. So you don't get the call of like, oh, I already got someone else out here. You want to be the first person connected.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I mean, what I was referencing in the very beginning, we had a client that used Zoom for like the video calls for this almost like kind of the same thing. But it wasn't, it's just Zoom. It's not what you guys have. And we'll go into more of the features and all the stuff like that too. But it worked really well for them. So like ever since I heard that, I always was thinking about it. And then when we spoke, I was like, oh, that's pretty genius because this is like actually built for that. And, definitely want to talk about some of the additional features, not just, it's not strictly just a video call, you have all these ways of tracking things and all that, the dashboard and, how you can manage the leads and stuff like that too. But yeah, I mean, to me, when you talk about speed to lead, I'm always talking about that. Like you have to have someone that's for one, picking up the call, especially depending on the type of lead, if you're running Facebook ads, it's got to be within like a minute that you're reaching out to them. But every call that comes in needs to be answered. The leads that come through contact forms or lead forms, they're not going directly. It's not like a call that just happens instantaneously. But if you're not picking up the calls, it's going to be a huge problem. And I feel like if I were looking for that, because this is so new, it would just like blow me away. Like if I saw that, it would never leave my mind because it still hasn't left my mind on just Zoom. So, I mean, if you have a cool feature where you're like, hey, yeah, let's just go take a look at your deck and I'll tell you what I want, like I would be blown away. I would think that's like the coolest thing. And you're like 10 years ahead of every other company because kind of are. um, so yeah, I love the idea. I guess the one thing I was wondering is, when people aren't home, like if they're reaching out, there's definitely a lot of people that reach out, whether at work or whatever, just not at their house. Any thoughts on how people typically handle that? Does it just kind of go back to the old way of reaching out, or what do you typically see for that?
No, actually, that's a great point. So when you got the folks that are calling from the office, which is always great, they got money, right? They're working, they're at their job.
Yeah,
Yep, that's already clue number one. Okay, this person probably has a bit more money because they're calling me from work. Okay, so the second thing that you're going to do is you say, "Oh, no problem. I'm going to send you a text, and when you get home, in the evening, what I want you to do is hit the text and hit the record button, and walk around and talk to me about what you want done." Talk to me about the deck you're thinking about, or talk to me about the fence you want put up. And the beautiful thing about this is they don't have to download an app. When after they hit the record, but after they tap the text, it instantly launches a recording button and picture. So they're recording and they can take pictures at the same time. They never have to go and upload anything to a Dropbox, drop anything to a text. Nope, the people don't want to do that. You know what I mean? And it's never stored on their phone. That's a liability. If anything's stored on your employee phone or your customer phone, that's a liability. This just goes right to the cloud. So when they hit record, it's going to the cloud. The other unique thing that's happening is it even works in crappy internet and no internet situations. So when people are going outside, or if they're rural, or if they're going, under the house or something, now you're still able to, the nerdy stuff is it's called caching in your browser. It caches. And then when you get to even crappy internet, the worst, like 3G, it'll still upload the video and photos to the cloud. It'll ping you. And that way, instead of leaving your dinner table at 7 o'clock at night to go see that person who works in the office, now you're getting to see it from a video. They explained it to you. And what we call it is they're pot committed more to you. They're more committed because they made a video for you to review. So when you watch that video and call back, you are armed and dangerous in a good way, right? You're saying, hey, yep, I've watched that entire video. I will still need to come out. In fact, I'm going to come out during the day. Is it okay if I come out during the day and take some measurements? Yep, I'll take measurements, and then I'm going to follow up with you, and I'm going to take videos while I'm on site, and I'm going to explain to you what's going on. Because here's what the person at the office doesn't want to do. They don't want to leave their job and tell their boss they got to wait for you for 2 hours at 2 in the afternoon or 10 in the morning. You're now able to quote those jobs while people stay at their homes. You're now convenient. You're now easy to get a hold of. It's changed their whole buying experience. Like, wow, my decking guy did everything. Well, it was convenient for them during the day, and I was still able to work in my office, and they built my deck. And in fact, they even reviewed the plans with me virtually. I never even had to shake the guy's hand.
yeah,
It's incredible, right? So this is changing the whole game.
yeah. I mean, and the other thought that crossed my mind too, um, is it, because a lot of things I always say, when I build our websites, you want to make them painfully easy to figure out how to contact you, big phone numbers, because older generations, typically the ones with the money, and also typically ones that don't love technology, or at least, a good portion of them. Um, you kind of explained it, it sounds like it's pretty simple, but I mean, have you anything you kind of say to that, to like, people that are not very tech savvy, but still, being pretty user friendly, so they can
Yep.
kind of figure it out?
It's actually not the tech savviness, because our stuff is literally, if you can send a text or touch a text, you're in. There's no app. There's
Yeah.
nothing to download. So it's never a tech issue. It's actually more of a trust issue, where someone's like, you can't record me. It's the people that are like scared of the internet issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, because I've had guys, there's plenty of older folks out there. One of my guys who hangs TVs was like, James, I got a 90-year-old on this the other day. Like, it's not hard. This is not,
Yeah.
I'm used to living on a ladder. Everything we do is one touch. Back to Nextel. Like, this is not a new CRM. Like, I can teach you to use this in less than a minute. This is not hard. So that's
Yeah.
never our problem. The problem is people who are scared of video or scared of the internet. And that's a certain percentage of the population. Lord help them, you can't help them. Like, you're just going to have to go old school, and that's fine. We're not
Yeah.
going to replace,
Yeah.
this doesn't replace everybody, but it
Yeah.
replaces a large enough chunk that you're like, oh my goodness. Like, now you're going to be mad when you have to drive out. Our
Yeah.
customers are kind of like, oh, I got to drive out now like a caveman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, everyone's gonna be lazy in this way too.
Yeah.
Don't feel like going out. I mean, I'm the same way. My whole business is, remote, and I can work from anywhere. I'm like, a lunch, gotta
We
leave.
like convenience. We
Yeah,
like Amazon overnight. I mean, this is what it's all about, guys. Like, this is your customer. Things have changed. And wow, when you compete, when you don't have things like this, you're going to be viewed as a knuckle dragger. Like, are you serious? You still need to sit down at my dinner table? Now, there's still going to be people you got to sit down at the dinner table with. I'm not saying that. But here, the other side of the table, there's a bunch of customers that are in the office, don't really want you to wait around. Also, some of these, um, let me just put it out there. Some of these females are scared of having these burly fellas come over when they're home by
yeah,
themselves. There's a safety
yeah,
factor. So when
yeah,
you see virtually and they can see you and you build trust, they trust you, then again, you're setting yourself apart as well. And then you've got the people that are worried about the planet. This is also one of the greenest things you can do for the planet. You're not driving in your truck to and
yeah,
back again. You're still going to be driving your truck. It's just less driving, right? So you're starting to paint this picture of convenience. You're painting this picture of easy to do business with. You're painting a picture of I'm tech forward. Like you're painting a picture in a different way, but you're still getting the work.
yeah. Yeah, I like it. I mean, we'll talk about pricing here, I guess, towards the end, but it doesn't take much just by saving, however many trips you do in gas and wear on your cars and that kind of thing to, have it be worth it as well. And then, especially, decking's obviously more expensive, so it doesn't take much to get a return on that. But even on the fencing side, but I'll save all the pricing stuff here towards the end. But so I guess like maybe you could talk about, all right, so you get the video, say I'm a customer, I get, so I call, we talk, and you're like, hey, can you do the video? So you text something to me, and then we start a live video chat in that scenario, right?
Yep.
Okay. If I'm not available, then you say, hey, I'll text you, and here's a link to record a video, and then you text a video like you text a video to anybody, and then it automatically uploads, or do you have to like click to upload it?
You don't have to click any of that stuff. No one wants to do
Yeah.
that. All they do is really click a text. It launches the video. You hit record and then done. It
So it's your
automatically.
software you record the video on, you're saying?
Yeah. So when you click a
Okay.
link, it's
That's
literally
nice.
launching a browser with your camera in it, a video camera, and you're
Nice.
just
Okay.
tapping record. If they can tap a text and tap record, you're good.
Okay.
Other than that, they don't have to worry about uploading. They don't have to find a file. Nothing's stored on their device. We had to make it like, you remember the jitterbug for like the phones for people who don't want phones, like the older
Oh
phones.
yeah.
I'm like, we are trying to be the jitterbug of technology, like that. And you know why? Because that's what works. Now we push a button to start our car. We push a button to start the microwave. We push a button to answer a phone. One tap solutions tend to work really well.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some issues with like leaks in our house and stuff like that. And I know we all are just impatient. I know I'm impatient for sure. And it's like when I have something that needs to be done, I wish I could just send a video or text it and then be like, all right, what's it going to cost? And you probably could give a very accurate estimate, decking and stuff, fencing, fencing probably easier, but like decking could get a little more complicated. But contractors in general, like if you're fixing a leak or something like that, I mean, God, that would be so much more helpful to everyone if you could just do that. So
Oh yeah, small jobs, follow up. I
yeah,
mean, we've only been talking about the sales side. We haven't even talked about operations, follow up, and callbacks, right? Or marketing, right?
yeah,
So this is live video, recorded video, and pictures are getting woven in every step of your process. What we're doing is essentially also adding the NFL instant replay to your business. Because here's what happens, right? You go and you're installing the deck. The deck is beautiful. Customer does the final walk around, and then they see some kind of ding on the gutters, right? Well, they didn't notice it before, but now they notice it. And guess who they want to blame? Your decking guys bashed up my gutters. You're like, what? Now you can go back even before you set foot on the property and you have a video and you go back and you can show a picture or a video. It's like, no, those gutters were already bashed up before we got on property. And in
yeah,
fact, when my guys show up, the first thing we do is a video walk around because we do before and afters. And you can reference any of these photos or videos to go back in time, especially if you're digging, and maybe you're digging and something crappy happens, like you're digging and you hit a pipe. That's happened to us when we're digging for fences or decks.
yep,
You hit electrical. Well, now one of your guys can text you like, "Hey boss, got a problem. All right, show me." And now you from your office can take a video from, your employee, brings out their phone and you're taking video and photos, which you can now share to the customer and say, "Hey, while they're at their office, hey, our guys were digging today. We hit a pipe. I've got everything recorded. Don't worry. We've got insurance. We're going to take care of this." Right. And it's going to affect our timeline. So now you've documented everything, not only in the sales process. If your sales guys are selling world peace, you're like, "Hey, we don't do that." Or if the customer says, "Oh, they were not just going to do the fencing of the yard, they were going to fence a dog fence for me as well." You're like, we're happy to do that, but that was never in any of our records that we were supposed to do that. We just need to give a bid on it, right? So you're covering your backside. You're going to get your before and afters. You're going to get your customer testimonials. Like when your final walk around, "Hey, stand in front of the deck. Can I take a video of you saying how much you're in love with your new deck?" Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Google will, and this, Alex, they're looking on your website and on your Google business profile for real videos and real photos. If you have stock photos and stock videos, you get downranked in Google. If you have real videos and real photos in your Google profile and on your website, every photo, like I'm telling you, and Alex, I'm just preaching to the choir here. Like you need to go through your entire website and have no stock photos. You literally get downgraded. So you can start using these for that. And then finally, is now you can put up QR codes. Our guys are always trying to claim their properties, right? If I'm your fence guy, I'm the fence guy, not just for that homeowner. I'm that fence guy for that property for life. So on your gates, they're putting the name of their fence company and the phone, which you guys are probably hopefully already doing. Now you're going to put up a QR code that says take a video with any issues. So they can scan it, take a video of maybe the gate that's driving them nuts, and then it pings you. Maybe even a new resident or new tenant moves in. They can now, "Oh, I guess this is my fence guy. Yes, I'm your fence guy." Same thing with the deck. Put a weatherproof sticker on the deck in a place where someone can see it. And the other thing is it's good for referrals. "Oh, who is my deck guy again? Who is my fence guy?" People don't remember. I mean, I literally just had my roof done. I can't remember who the heck did it when my neighbors ask who did it. I'm like, I don't remember,
Yep.
So putting these QR codes as claiming property, right? So you want to claim property for recurring revenue. Okay. Also for referrals and branding. These are the kind of things that are all part of what we're doing from first connection through operations, through follow-up, all the way through. You're going to want to add live and recorded video and photos all the way through. Once you have the NFL instant replay, you're never going to get rid of it.
Yeah. So you're saying like you just give them a link and they create the signs. I'm guessing are you saying you like actually create those signs for them, or you're just giving the link for the QR code, or
So we help you in like 10 seconds. You create a QR code that's live that anybody
gotcha.
could scan it and record a video. You're just going to take that, download that QR code and add it to your sticker that you might already
Okay.
have. And then
Gotcha.
just say, it's very simple.
Okay, I gotcha. And then, so are you actually managing the jobs in LiveSwitch? Like, is it, or how does that come in? Because you mentioned a couple of details or like specifics, I guess there, but it almost made it sound like you were managing it a little bit inside the software. But I know you integrate with other CRMs and stuff too. So
Yeah, we're not trying to be a CRM. You already have one, whether you're using Excel or Google, or whether you're using like a ServiceTitan or Jobber. We are under the hood of Jobber and ServiceTitan. We're not trying to manage your jobs. We're just trying to get all the videos, all the photos, all the videos with one touch, one click. And then it'll put links. Like let's say you're doing a job and you're using Jobber. I'm just going to pick on Jobber. It'll add a link to that job number, and that's where your video and photos are. Because here's what happens. Sometimes people change CRMs. Like they're like, I'm done with ServiceTitan. I'm going to Jobber. I'm done with Jobber. I'm going over here, right? So you can take all of your photos and videos and recordings with you, right? You don't want to get locked in. You just want to be able to go
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What would you say your favorite feature is of LiveSwitch? Out of all of them, or favorite thing about it, maybe?
It's just dead simple. Like
Yeah.
anytime we talk about software, or I'm sure when you talk about software with your team, eye rolls and people are like, "Oh my God." You know why? Because I always make fun of my engineers. I'm like, "You guys have never spent the day on a ladder. You have soft hands." And what happens is engineers, coders are making software for home service people and they've never been on a ladder. I won't let that happen. Like at my company, I'm like, "I've been on a ladder. We won't use all that nonsense." Like as cool as AI is, and of course we're going in the age of AI, we're using that stuff. I'm like, if it's not practical, and of course if it's not simple, one touch, we like one touch.
Yeah.
We like simple. That's how we are. Not because we're knuckle draggers and simpletons. We are busy. Like when you're digging a hole in the earth, I'm not trying to hop into a CRM and put a bunch of notes and things and this, that, and the other. Like we hate that.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
we hate it.
That's a lot more for you guys to do on your end too. I mean, having to manage something like that or an app, that kind of thing. There's a lot of bad apps out there too.
Oh my gosh. That's
Especially
terrible.
with contractors, they're not going to want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
Nobody does.
Have you seen contractors or any of your customers use it in any ways that kind of surprised you, like any unexpected creative ways that they've kind of used the software?
All the time. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But one guy just let me know the other day he's using it for recruiting. He's like, he sends, the text message where like if someone's in the office, like the video Dropbox, he'll like say, hey, uh, answer these 3 questions and click this link and take a video of yourself answering them. Like,
Oh, when he's trying to hire. Yeah.
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 So he's like, I'm not going to have someone come to my office if they can't answer 3 simple questions. Like, I'd rather just waste, 2 minutes of time rather than an
Yeah.
hour. So recruiting,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's exactly what I do. Obviously not with LiveSwitch, but use a company called Video Ask. Have you ever heard of them? You basically just video yourself and like, hey, answer these questions, and you do like 4 questions, and you literally can, I don't countless hours, you save from going on those interviews. And it's kind of the same thing with LiveSwitch. It's the same amount of time, just with actually giving the estimates or actually going out to the jobs, or in this case, it sounds like you use it for recruiting and
Yeah.
operations too.
You
So
just want to make sure your time is so valuable. I'd rather spend time with my family or time on my business than waste time driving somewhere or waste time with the interview that is not going to go anywhere.
yeah.
I just don't want to waste my time. So it's stuff like that. I think the other thing, that's been really cool. Have you taken your car to get serviced at a service station and they've taken a video of their work? Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, that's cool though.
Okay, so like tons of like car dealerships now, when you take your vehicle in to get just a routine maintenance, they'll take videos. Like we took our car in and they're saying, here's your oil filter that we changed. Here's your tire pressure. And they're showing me a video of their work, which as a customer,
Cool.
that feels great because it validates that they did the work. Cause they usually take my car around back and I'm like, I hope they did everything I told them and
Yep.
I paid. And then they give me
100%.
this big old bill and I'm like, how would I even know you did the work? Right? So it builds that trust. The same thing happens when you're installing anything. If you can show progress reports and videos, and they have fun with it. They were like, the guys were filling tires and they were making funny noises. They were having a good time. They were being real. They were being open. And when someone's at the office and they're at your home, it's their home. It's different if you're doing commercial work, they still care. But when you got someone on your property, it's just different. So if you're showing them progress reports, again, it's going right to the cloud in this thing called a project that you share, and they can see live updates and photos and videos of the work done. It makes the customer experience that much over the top. They
Yeah,
love it.
100%. And it's funny you say that. Have you ever heard of Dr. Dex?
Doctor, no, what's
Okay,
that?
I'll give him a shout out. He's probably the biggest like deck influencer. Um,
Mm.
Really nice guy. But anyways, any project he has, he films like literally the entire thing. And there's a lot of contractors that do stuff like that. He just does it to the whole next level, I would say. But I was thinking like how cool it would be to be that homeowner where you literally have a video on Instagram that you can go and look of every little detail that was done. And of course, you don't need to do it to that level, with LiveSwitch or something else. But I was just thinking like that'd be so cool to get off work at the end of the day and like just see his video, and it's like, oh, that's how they did what I now see. Kinda
Well,
get
that
like
stuff is
that.
this is what our customers are doing. What they'll have is they'll print out a sheet of paper with a QR code on it, and they'll put it up on the job site while they're there. And any guy who's working on the site can scan the QR code and take a video of what's going on. And it'll go right up to the cloud. And some of our customers even ask their customers, hey, do you mind if I share this video? And someone's like, no, I don't care. And you can take that video and put it on your social media. You can
Nice.
put it anywhere. And you don't have to be an influencer. This is not for, the Dr. Decks of the world. Great. Now
Yeah.
you can do the same thing and you can be of influence. And we train our home service guys how to become on platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, where you can put these videos of your work and you now are going to not just win business that way, you're going to be taken seriously in a different kind of way because you are putting your stuff out there, and you'll watch other deck Other fence installers will reach out to you, or when it's time for someone to get a new job, they're gonna look at you. And this stuff ain't hard. Like I don't want anyone leaving this thinking like, oh man, like another thing. Like this is the stuff that will take if you're trying to figure out how do I go from 6-figure business to 7-figure business? It's stuff like this, not just this alone, but things like this that will really help to move that ball forward.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's likely going to be competitors that you have that are going to eventually be using it. Usually, I would say for something like this, it's probably the bigger companies that adopt things like this. Maybe not always, but that's kind of how I would see, I guess, it happening a lot of times. Ones that are a little bit more, flexible or whatever. But um, I guess I'm curious too, though, like what really holds, what have you seen holds contractors back, people to actually, get started with this? Anything that in
Yeah,
particular?
it's just being on video, right? Like themselves personally or their staff being like, "Oh, I didn't sign up to be on video." No, you
Yeah.
didn't. But, times change, man. Like it's
Yep.
just one of those things like in certain industries, we're really far down the road with our stuff. And now that so many people in that industry are using it, if you don't use it, you're kind of viewed like, why aren't you doing virtual stuff yet? you know? Um,
Yeah.
and plus it's just bottom line, like and time. So a lot of it is just change management. It's new, it's different, it's being on video. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, I got guys that live in their trucks that use our stuff because you can use it on a phone, tablet, computer. We have no app, and they'll put up a virtual background when you're sitting in your truck so you look professional. Or if you're on a job site, especially our small guys who don't have a call answering system or all the stuff, they're able to compete with the big boys and girls in their town and now even outcompete them because they're faster, and even when
Yeah.
you're smaller, there's always advantage of hey, there's advantages of being big, there's also advantages of being small. You can change faster. You can adopt quicker. You can do something that separates yourself in simple, affordable ways.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, and I think about like there are some companies that do things, for example, like I've seen HVAC companies do this where they'll send a picture before they come out on the job. They're like, this is, Nate or whatever. This is what he looks like. He's coming out. I remember like back in the day when that was like really exciting, and still people don't really do that. But that would help a lot towards like the customer experience. This piece here could help for the customer experience, but doing it that way isn't helping you close the sale really, like that's not going to help you close the sale. So something like this could actually, have you stick into the minds of whoever you're talking to as like that premier company. A lot of our contractors want the bigger jobs, or everybody wants the people that have the money, so if you want to be picked based off of your quality and like your reputation, those are going to be the better types of customers. And this is a way that you can kind of stand out and show
That's right.
yourself like, okay, we're ahead of the game, we've got our shit together basically, and that's why you should choose us for this big elaborate project you have.
Yeah. And even at the smaller side, right? Like those small jobs where you're trying to fit in a 30-minute estimate where all they want is like just some railings changed out or like a small fence built for their dog,
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are things where you can just be like, no, let's get on the virtual call. It's still a good job, like you can still, make, $1,000 or more in the day, but it's just the whole bidding process and the follow-up process. Now it's just like, nope, we're good to go. I've seen this before. We'll bring what we need. Here's how much it costs. And then once you close your first deal, not having to drive out. I'm not saying all the deals, like the more elaborate ones, it's you're going to see it, then you're going to go out. But these smaller ones where you're driving all around town, you're going to like, oh golly, like getting and also having everything recorded. You share the video with your crew to review what the property looks like. Because the other thing that sucks is when your guys drive out and they forgot a certain tool. Like, oh crap, I didn't realize we are digging through concrete today. I forgot to get the jack. Like so now they got to turn around, however long it is, go get it from, and like you're trying to prevent stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's all these little pieces. It all just adds up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. And you were talking about AI a little bit. Do you have AI integrated into the software at all?
Oh, it's coming. So step one was live video. Just can we get people on video? Check. Got that. Now it's measurement tools, virtual measurement tools, laser guidance system. Or on live video, you can laser guide someone. We call it the grandma guidance system. Or your guys, you're like this way. Like So you got lasers, GPS, then you've got translation. So if someone's English as a second language, either maybe on your team or a customer. Now think of those old ninja movies where they're seeing it translated both ways. It'll take the entire session with that person, and now it'll have a whole recap. Here are the action items. Here's everything we discussed. So it's all kinds of, we want practical and tactical AI. Everyone talks about AI, it does this and all that. I'm like, but hey, does it help me? I want it to come alongside you. We want it to be your co-pilot, not your replacement. And then frankly, in home services, your guys aren't going to get replaced by AI. Like they don't have to worry. So how does AI going to help them? I always like equate it to the Iron Man super suit where you put on Iron Man, you got Jarvis in there. That's kind of what we're trying to do with AI, is have that Jarvis. So you can have a bunch of Iron Men out there putting decks up.
Gotcha. I like that analogy. So like currently right now, how many people are currently using, how many users or,
Oh, I've
companies?
lost count. Thousands and thousands. I got them all over the world.
Nice.
In all industries. I mean, electricians, plumbers, painters, guys that do holiday lights, deck, fence, you name it, we got them. And some of the industries are just a little bit farther down the road, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's been incredible growth.
That
Because no
was,
one else does live video. Like these big, like ServiceTitan couldn't figure it out. Jobber couldn't figure it out. It's because it's really hard. Like we power Super Bowl, we power like all these governments, we power Department of Defense. Like we're bringing this, like the change of the 911 phone call to the home service industry. Live video is just crazy hard.
yeah.
So here it comes. But now that it's coming, it's here. Once you touch it and use it, and you're like, okay, I got it. Like it's like when the first smartphone came out. It's like when AI first came out the first time. If you ever tried using Chat GPT and it blows your mind, you're like, holy, like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of that moment. I've had so many experiences when I'm sitting down with someone showing it, and all they have to do is touch it. I can see the magic. Once they see it, they're like, oh, I got it. Because this is not a FaceTime call. It's not a Zoom call. It's the reverse of a FaceTime call. It's tuned up for third-party assistance. It's like, oh, someone actually thoughtfully created this. This is why nobody uses FaceTime, because it sucks it's great for when grandma's watching the kids blow out the candles, but not for me to do a professional job. It doesn't work.
Yeah. 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 For sure. So out of all those industries, do you have any idea like which ones use it the most? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh,
Like,
the moving industry is going bonkers.
oh,
Uh,
really?
oh my goodness! Like, it's been unreal. Watching the self-storage industry has gone bonkers. We're in self-storage all over the place.
Huh.
And now we're taking tons of over this last month, tons of Serve Pros and restoration and plumbers. Like One Tom Plumber and Serve Pro are now customers of ours. So like we are breaking into these franchises, and they all talk,
Yeah.
and
I
just
like
and
it.
because the stuff's super affordable. I mean, we're talking about like $80 a month per person that uses it. And you don't need to issue this to everyone in your company. You literally will just get it for a couple people, and then
Yeah.
you'll just be going. It's super affordable. I mean, I fight against your gas tank. Like I want you thinking about me when you're pumping gas.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm curious, this is like the videos that you upload, like how long can they typically be? If you were to upload is there like a max video length?
We only have a minimum, 10-second minimum. You can
Really?
leave this running for a year. You can't dime me out. I power governments. Like, trust me, I could have everybody in the entire fence and deck industry using our stuff all at the same time. You can't dime me out. We have unlimited storage. We store it indefinitely. I mean, we power big companies. Some companies I'm not even allowed to tell you because of NDAs. Like,
Gotcha.
we're just bringing that power now, putting it in the hands of. It's a homecoming for me. Like I'm like, finally, I have people I understand. When they talk, I actually can nod and, oh, I understand what they're saying. It's not like the bookkeeper or my engineers. Like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are my people.
Yeah. So if somebody were to wanted to get started, I mean, what does the whole process look like? Best ways to get in contact with you?
Yeah, one, if you're on LinkedIn, look for James Hatfield, or two, just go to LiveSwitch, LiveSwitch.com, click demo and ask for me. I'm not going to farm you off to anybody else in my company. If you're listening to Alex's podcast, you can come talk to me. And I've been a business owner. I'll take care of anyone listening. I love people who are educating themselves, which is why we do inmates to entrepreneurs, and we're educators. Like this is why we're just trying to educate. And so, come to me. Go to liveswitch.com, demo, ask for James, and you'll get me. I'll make time for anyone listening.
There you go. Okay. And what does the onboarding process look like? Like what information do you need to get from contractors?
So I had a contractor the other day. He bought it, met me in the morning, bought it that same time, trained in the afternoon, used it that afternoon. He was like, James, I saved $200 the same day I bought you. Like I didn't have to do a couple callbacks. I just did it virtually. Like time to value here. You learned this in 5 minutes. This is not everything you've thought about software and learning it. Just throw it out the window. Like if you can send a text, you can use our stuff. And if you can tap a text, again, back to the thing, we wanted to be like when Google first came out, all it was just a Google search line. I was like, brilliant. That's what we are. Like you didn't have to go to training to use Google, right? We have training here. It's complimentary. We're going to teach you all the ways to squeeze all the value, all the stuff like the QR codes and stuff. But as far as just time of like, you come, you purchase your license like Netflix, immediate use, go to town.
Okay. And then if they did need more help or maybe like, the dashboard, all the stuff behind the scenes, you guys have like training and support?
24/7 support. So if you don't have time during the day, you can only do it in the evening. You can do it at 2 a.m. for all we care. It's all included, complimentary. We keep an eye on your account. If you hire a new person and you want them to get to know this stuff, just send them to us. You're going to have a real person. We believe in human connection, and you'll know their name. They'll know you. This is how we're built. We care about our customer experience. Just like we eat at our own restaurant, right? So they always say never trust a skinny chef. So
yeah. Okay. So I guess we talked on this a little bit, but what's kind of next for LiveSwitch the next, say 5 or so years?
Oh, I mean, all the stuff talking about AI and adding little bits and pieces that are practical, but it's just a takeover for us. Like it's just scale. Like we scaled that last company, the financial tech company. It was one of the fastest growing companies in the country for 3 years that we took from nothing to $1 billion company. That's where we're at in our journey right now. I mean, I'm hiring tons of folks, tons of salespeople. Like we're growing like crazy. We got a brand new building. We got global presence now. Like we're just scaling and growing as fast as we can.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. Well, is there any, as we kind of wrap up here, James, is there any additional things you'd like to add?
I just want to, man, compliment anyone listening. Like I know what it is to live on the ladder. Like you're spending time, taking your time to listen to a podcast. Alex, this is why we reached out to you, because you have authentic, solid material that is game changing. So we wanted to be able to we know you probably we don't have 100,000 people listening to us right now. It's because only a few folks will take that extra time to really educate and go down the chessboard because they want to compete. They want to grow their business. They want to take care of their team and their community and their families. And so, thank you guys for giving me your ears and listening. And Alex, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, James. Yeah, I love this and all the detail you gave to everybody. I mean, definitely make it very enticing. So I'm hoping people listening to this will go to the website and check it out, and reach out to James and learn a little bit more and see if it's if it's something you want to implement for your business. So, but yeah, that's kind of getting down towards the end here. And pretty much all the questions I have for James. I think he was very thorough, and I think anybody listening definitely got a lot of value from it. So going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast, so we're going to just continue doing these episodes. We've gotten a little bit late as of late. The episodes that we've done recently, we're need to kind of increase it a little bit, but it's just been so crazy with business lately. So we're going to keep going on that. And if anybody has any questions about their marketing, their website, SEO, Google Ads, anything like that, feel free to reach out. I know it's kind of the peak of the season right now, going through the summer right now, but getting things ready, taking advantage of this time of year, and then also getting ready for, the next spring next year is a really good idea and something I recommend. So if you have any questions, just reach out to us through the website, deckfencemarketers.com. And then feel free to reach us all over our social media channels too. All right, James, that's it. Thanks again for coming on here. And yeah, good luck with everything going forward. Love to keep in touch and, hope you guys continue killing it.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you having me.